Hey Gwenters, and welcome back for another episode of Gone Gwenting. I know last time I told you that we were filming our last intro deck, but today is going to be the actual last intro deck, and this time we're going to cover none other than Skellige. Now Skellige is a little bit different from all the other ones, as I mentioned in my last video, and Skellige often, I think the description is they thrive off of wounds and lash back harder the more damage they get. It's pretty true. They have a lot of really fun, super weird decks that they can do. You can see right here I have one pulled up, Sacrificial Vanguard, where you can discard cards and draw new cards and do damage every time you do that. It's a little bit more complicated, and we'll get into that in more of the advanced decks later on. But right now, let's just pull up our starter deck. I had it here somewhere, and now I have misplaced it. Don't worry, I'm going to find it. Here we go. Skellige starter deck. We'll get into an unranked match, and I'll show you how they work. So, biggest thing that's similar between all of these decks, sometimes you can get those Elder Bears. They have no extra ability. They're just worth 6 points. Again, they're better than dropping down a 4 provision cost card as the last play. But you don't want to hold on to your last play card as a 4 provision cost card unless you are kicking their butt early on. So when we play with Skellige, you have to be more on top of things in order to make sure that you are dealing damage to the enemy like you want to. I think they're similar to Northern Realms in that they do well over time, but especially in your starter deck, there's not a lot of engines, so you actually have to make them work for you, and you're going to see in this leader ability that you need to take a more proactive approach. Alright, so let's see what we got here. You've seen Geralt. We have him again. Heime Spear Maiden. She deals damage to an enemy by 2 and then damages herself. But she pairs well with Heime Herbalist, who will heal an allied unit by 3 and boost it by 3. So let's leave her in there. Bloodthirst. I'm going to show you how that one works. We definitely don't need 2. And we want to save these Freya's Blessing cards till later on. We don't need them right now. So the biggest thing that you're going to see in the starter deck is Bloodthirst. Bloodthirst, as you can see, this Svanriga Torsik is probably your best card that you can get in the starter deck, and his Bloodthirst is as a number of damaged enemy units required to trigger this ability, and it will say the number here. So here it's 3. So we want to get out a card that's going to deal damage to them over time without us even having to do anything. And the best card for that in the starter deck is the On-Crate Longship. And this is a card that you are going to see in several meta Skellige decks to this day. The On-Crate Longship is a powerful and potent tool in your arsenal. And as you can see here, as long as it's played on the melee row, it's going to damage an enemy unit by 2 every time they play a unit. Now, he's spawning these Firesworn Zealots, which is, quick aside, he is playing as Syndicate. I know I haven't covered Syndicate. That's because you do not get a Syndicate starter deck. You're going to have to build them on your own. And we're going to cover that in more of the advanced, maybe not quite advanced. We'll do that at the end of this beginners series and playlist. But for right now, don't worry about Syndicate. They're a little bit more complicated. They rely on coins as well. You can see below his leader ability. So we just don't need to worry about them right now. But let us take out some of these guys, and we're going to do that by playing this Heime Spear Maiden. Target him, and you can see she does 2 damage and then takes 2 back on herself. We're going to end turn. Now we could boost her up with this tactical advantage, but remember, we want to pair her with this Heime Herbalist, who can only be played on that ranged row, and will heal an allied unit by 3 and boost it by 3. So, another damage dealer here is Ulrich on Brokvar. His Bloodthirst is 2, so we need to damage another unit by 2. You can see Gutting Slash here is going to do 4 damage, but if 2 of their units are damaged, they'll do 6. So, it doesn't look like we have a great pairing here with any of these cards. So, actually, I know I trashed Elder Bear, but we're just going to get him out of our hand. I just don't want to worry about him right now. Something also to keep in mind with Heime Herbalist, Healing a unit is different from boosting a unit. So you've seen a lot of boosts in some of these other decks that we've played against. And those boosts, especially in Northern Realms, will just up the value of a card by a specific amount. Heal will return them to their base value, and that's it. So while she heals by 3, she's actually going to give only 2 points back to this Haymay Spear Maiden, and then boost it. Alright, importantly, he did something, I want to mention it real quick. He put a poison on our Elder Bear. You can see that right here. Poison basically, I think I've mentioned this before in my Nilfgaard deck video, but poison will put that status effect on your card, and it will stay there until it goes away. So that's a little bit annoying. I think we're going to actually get out Udalryk von Brakvar because he played that poison. I know he's going to want to play another one, so Udalryk will probably be okay for one turn. And I have stupidly not been doing what I told you to do at the very beginning of this video. Pay attention and be proactive. This leader ability is on cooldown, so every other turn I am able to deal damage to this guy. Alright, so he did something super annoying, and we are going to take care of that right now. Okay, so I have my leader ability, and if you notice, this Damoon Pirate Captain is going to damage a unit by 3 if I can get 2 of his units damaged. So we are going to play Udalryk. We're going to damage the Songkrate Longship by 2, and then we're going to throw an extra damage up here on Philippa Eilhart, who is a nasty card. And then we'll play this Damoon Pirate Captain. We're going to drop him in, deal damage to the ship. Also note that deploy abilities will activate, and this is kind of a change if you're an older player, you know this has changed, but it will change, it will play that ability before the card on the board does its passive. So you'll notice I did 3 damage, killed the ship before it did 1 damage back to me. So that's why I wanted to get it weakened first and then play that card. So that's why I used Udalryk first, and then I finished playing out that other one just so we could get a few more damages out there.
Oh, looks like some
Alright, now we can have a little bit of fun with these other cards. So we have a Bloodthirst of 3. We also have, remember here, Bloodthirst of 2, damage unit by 6. The Sly Seductress, if you've seen my prior videos and contracts, I love this card. She used to only be a 4 provision cost, which was straight up broken. So not only is she worth 4 base points when you play her down, but she gets 1 point every time your opponent plays a unit, and then she gets an additional, she can also get a point for any card, artifacts, specials, whatever, if she's bonded, which means she has another of the same card out there. So, but for right now, let's get out Svanriga. We're going to play him down, and you'll see he has that awesome ability here, where his deploy, he's going to boost himself by 3, and we are actually going to throw out this tactical advantage since we're down to 4 cards, just to lay on the thick sauce onto this guy. So we're up 32-13. I feel like I'm in a pretty good place. We didn't get to use our Haymay Herbalist yet. We may end up doing that now. I don't think I'm going to, though. I actually really kind of like our position. So this is a good example of a Syndicate Fee card. It gets him coins, and then he can use these coins, you'll see at the bottom, to spawn another one of these Zealots once per turn. And then you'll also notice how this Sly Seductress, one of the other things that makes her broken good, she has a fee for 3 coins. She can spend those and give herself a shield. So she can be really annoying. But look, we're both at 4 cards. We are up by 16 points. It's possible that he makes a super bomb killer play next turn, but I'm gonna roll the dice and just pass this. So as I've mentioned before in prior videos, 4 is the magic number. 5 is when you should start thinking. So whenever we get down to 4 cards, you want to, if we're going first, we want to make sure we're going first. So like he miscalculated a little bit here. He probably should have used his leader ability. He used Sacred Flame here. This is a pretty good card. This is an artifact, which you can see at the top left. And he spawns a Firesworn Zealot and summon it to both sides of the card. Whenever you spawn a unit, boost it by 1. That's a good example of poor card management. Had he wanted to go deep on Firesworn Zealots, he should have played that earlier. You notice, I think he spawned 5 total that round. He could, well, 3, then 2, then 1, so 6 total. All of those could have been boosted. He wouldn't have had to push it so far, but instead he did. So Now I want to look back through. I love that that on-crate longship, if you remember, but it's gone now. So I don't so much care about playing something from my graveyard unless there's something good I can play here. So let's take a look. We get some decent harmony between these Damoon Light Longships and the Heimei Herbalist, which you're going to see. This Damoon Light Longship on the range row will damage self and an enemy unit by 1. So I'm going to show you how that works. We're going to damage this guy, and then we're going to remember to use our leader ability. Again, you got to make sure to stay on top of it. Every 2 turns, you get a deal damage. Importantly, for this compared to Ursine Ritual, which is another leadership ability, if you are building that later on, this is damage an enemy unit. Remember we talked about this with Skellige, with Pavko Gale. Whenever it says damage a unit, you can actually attack people on your own side. It has limited use, but it can be very useful on certain occasions. But here you can only damage enemy units, which is especially important when you are playing as Skellige. There are lots of cards that feed off of self-damage. And that's the Berserk ability. And I'll be making a special video. I actually had the footage recorded for a while now. I just need to finish it up. But that ability will actually allow you to transform or perform some special action when you are damaged to a certain number. So something to keep track of. All right, I like Durogea Vol. I like that lock. I do not want to play 2 cards from my graveyard. I just want to play that 1. So I'm going to trash him. Brogfar Archer. This guy is going to do as much damage as he has damaged units. That pairs well with Lacerate, Gutting Slash. Now these Heimei Herbalists, I really only want 1. So it looks like we're going to be doing a lot of damage this round. Just something to be aware of. Now, I know a lot of people, when they are telling you how to make decks, are really concerned about first play cards. You want to make sure you have a first play card. A good example here would be an on-crate Longship. Something that you're not wasting a card when you play it. You'll notice a lot of these other cards, you need to wait until later to play them, or until an enemy has played something. So I actually am going to just play this Damoon Longship out of the graveyard using this Freya's Blessing skill. I'm going to pull her out. I'm going to pop him down.
No insult.
And there he goes, ready to go. So he has Zeal, which means he can use his ability right away, but it's an order on a 1-turn cooldown, so I'll still be able to use it every round. He'll still be useful to me. Just because I could have used it the same round doesn't mean I needed to have used it the same round. Those are very different. Okay, Evald Borsodi is a great card. He gives a lot of versatility, actually, to the Syndicate deck. So for every 2 coins, you saw him play that, he was doing 2 damage from that melee row. So he is really good at clearing cards off the board that they just want to get rid of. But we are actually going to have a little bit of fun with this guy. We are going to just get rid of his cards, trash him down, make sure we get some damage in here. Going to use this Gutting Slash to get rid of Evald. He had a good kill with that, but he played an 8 provision cost card early, and he is still down 2 cards. Keep that in mind. He has card advantage technically, but he's still down 2 cards. And he's feeding Skellige right now, right? So the reason I say that is because this Procession of Penance is he's going to damage himself by 10, reduce that damage by 2 for every Firesworn Zealot he controls. So he damaged himself by 4 points, which now gives me this Bloodthirst of 2. So I can now use these other cards to just have some fun with this guy, and not in a way that is going to make him happy. And we can just start knocking on this door of this Procession of Penance. I don't know if he has a heal card. I don't know what he has, so I want to try to get rid of this guy as soon as possible. And the way I'm going to do that is by dealing damage and then cutting him down. Alright, he is making some very odd choices. Savola is one of, in my opinion, the best cards in the game. His net points that he can drop down in 1 turn, he gets the 6 points native to his own card, and then he actually gives you an 11 more points if you can spawn this Savola's Frightener. You need to get 9 coins to do it. He brings 2 profit, which can synergize with Bincy Blum Revolt and get you an additional 2 points. So you can actually be up to a 19-point play, but he kind of threw that away. You want to save him for last, get coins as best you can, and use him that way. But we are just going to go and do exactly what I said we were going to do last time, but instead we're going to damage Savola instead of these Firesworn Zealots. There's some cards that can do some special things with them, so we're just going to let them go. We are just going to knock him out. I don't want him to be able to heal that guy and come back, get a bunch of points, right? So that's just something to stay aware of. You will note, though, that I still have Geralt of Rivia. He was at 8 when we first started attacking him, right? So if I had brought him down more, it wouldn't have done me much good. This is another wasted card. Adriana the Meek is a fantastic card. 8 provision cost, but if you he gets you 2 coins, you just need to have 3 more alongside it, and that's going to be a 5-point tribute that'll spawn a Sly Seductress. That's just 10 points right off the bat from a 1-card play. You don't even have to do anything. But if you had another Sly Seductress like you did the first round, you get that bonded ability, and then you get a point for each of them every time I play any card. I mean, it's just, I don't know what this guy's maybe just trying out this deck for the first time, so we'll be patient with him. Alright, so look, we used this guy, did 2 damage, because he had 2 damaged cards. Honestly, I'm just going to try to draw him out, see what he's got going on. Now, he might be trying to play poisons late, but he is not. He's just doing bleeding damage. So, you know, some things you can explain in life, some things you just can't. This guy's actions are one of those things. Now, I'm actually going to cut down this armor in anticipation of using this lacerate ability. And we're going to let this bleed run out so that we can use our Heme Herbalist to get some juice in there. So I'm going to use this lacerate now. There's no reason to wait. I'd like to use Dirige to lock something if he has something good in the final round. So he's going to try to boost with some coins or something like that. Otherwise, we're just kind of waiting him out. So, I mean, this is a good example too. So he's doing 4 damage with the bleeds. He might have been worried I had a purify, but he could have otherwise used poison. Some things you can't explain. Alright, well, we're just going to play Dirige in hopes that he plays a 9-point card. He may not, but we're just going to stay on top of that. And this right here is a good example of why you want to be the person who plays the final card, but also why you want to be the person who plays the 2 final cards, right? This is what, I mean, we didn't have card advantage. We had to go first, and we still have 2 more cards than him. Unfortunately, it's not doing us a whole lot of good to have this Geralt because he didn't play anything that worthwhile, but he should have saved that Procession of Penance until later. He had another Firesworn Zealot here. I don't really understand what he was. Again, he's playing unranked, that's probably why he's testing it. But see that we did a heal because he was damaged down to 2, and then we did a boost of 3. Oh, sorry, he was damaged down to 3. So we only healed him by 2 points, and then we boosted him by 3. So had he been down to 2, we could have done the opposite, but that just didn't happen. But look at this. We're going to win with the final play of Geralt in uselessness to get that 1-point victory. That's why counting your cards matters. That's why leading big in the first round and buttoning it up early matters. Even if you don't win it, if you can get far enough ahead to push them, that's another way that you can win. So thank you for watching. Get out there, go Gwenting, like, subscribe, pass this on to your friends, and let me know if you got a new Skellige unit you're wondering how to incorporate. Let me know. I can give you some advice. Check out my Draco Turtle video as well, where you can see how I use that 1 card to transform the Skellige faction. But until then, hang in there, stay safe, and don't cut your hair like mine unless you can grow a sick beard.